Mystics MMOs. I'm your host, Mystic Raven. Alright guys, so I'm going to give you guys my new build for the Magicka Sorcerer for PvP. Now, disclaimer, I've mainly Battleground with this build. I'm still seeing if it's viable for Cyrodiil, so disclaimer, I don't know how well it'll perform in Cyrodiil in comparison, but I've aligned the CP points just in case. But ideally, I've been running this in Cyrodiil. Been having really good success for the most part. Had a couple of players hunt me down intentionally with multiple people. But hey, man, you know, it comes with territory. You know, whatever. But it's still a really good build. And what I love about this build, you don't need a shield stack. That's what I really like about this build. Who says you need shield stacking to survive as a sorcerer? Well, with this build, proves otherwise. And I'm going to introduce you guys today to my new build, the Electric Fence. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so we are using, it is a Destro Resto build. And you'll see my max Magicka is at 34,665. Magic recovery on my Destro side, 1902. Max health, 16,886. Now, I'm not in Cyrodiil. That will, all these stats will increase as far as your health and such because of the buff. Also, you'll see spell damage prior to buff or builder, 2127. Resistance, spell resistance, 16. Physical, 15,870. Really nice in resistance. I will be getting into this. To the left, you'll see 62 points allocated into Magicka, 2 into health. I am using Witch Mother's Potent Brew. I'm using the Lover Mundus. And then when I go to the Resto side, you're going to go ahead and see my magic recovery bumps up to 2,070. Max Magicka is at 32. Health remains the same. So does spell damage, and the resistance remains the same. All right, let's get into the gear. Okay, so we're going to be using Master Inferno Staff. If you do not have the Master Inferno Staff, you can opt with the Willpower Inferno Staff. That's fine. You just want to make sure it's with Nirnhone, and you want to make sure you have the increase spell damage enchantment. It's very, very important. I really like this, you know, because I'm using Destructive Touch. It just has a knockback. So it's a good CC. It's a solid CC. Also, the secondary staff, we're going to be using the Lich set. So we're going to use the Restoration Staff of the Lich. This is Nirnhone with a Shock Enchantment. Now, why the Lich? Lich is pretty standard with a lot of Magicka builds because it has a lot of sustain to it. So we have Magicka Recovery, we have Max Magicka, we have Magicka Recovery. When we cast an ability while under 33% Magicka, our Magicka Recovery is bumped up to 996. So let me go ahead and demonstrate this. I am going to go ahead and dump down all of my Magicka. And then when we go back in, now we're at 3,614 magic recovery. Really, really sick. It's really nice. So I would tell anybody, please use the set. It's for sustain. It's really, really nice. All right, so we're also going to be using Engine Guardian, no surprise. Once again, it helps with recovery. So we get a health recovery, and then when we activate an ability, we have a 10% chance to summon a Dwemin automation to restore either 1,162 health, stamina, or Magicka every 0.5 seconds for 6.5 seconds. Really resourceful on a sorcerer or majority of magic builds. But I really like this because of the sustain it offers. Really comes in handy. Okay, we're also going to be using, surprisingly, Thunderbug set. Now, why am I going to be using the Thunderbug set? The Thunderbug set is going to give us physical and spell resistance, so it's going to give us a lot of resistance to what? Mitigate some of that oncoming damage. It's also going to give us spell damage, which contributes to our damage output. And then, when we take physical damage, we have a 50% chance to deal 7,270 shock damage in a 5-meter radius around us. This effect can occur once every 3 seconds. So it's just a little icing on the cake. We're giving a lot of survivability with a little bit of an AoE damage. Comes in handy against most melee builds, especially those nasty Nightblades who like to jump you. So, you want the head in light infused Max Magicka. You want the chest with the multi-effect enchantment. Why? Because we need some stamina, and having the extra health isn't bad. So the extra stamina is going to be used for our exchange. So it comes in handy, so we have that infused, so we maximize it. Also, we're going to be using the Engine Guardian Epilots, Impen Max Magicka, that is ideal. We also have the Sash of the Lich, Impen Max Magicka ideal. We have Gloves of the Lich, Impen Max Magicka ideal. We're also using Thunderbug's Greave, so it's 5 light, 2 heavy. Once again, multi-effect enchantment, infused, ideal. We're using Shoes of the Lich, divine. Now, if you want to go with another set of Impen, you can. I just like one piece of divine to bump up that Lover Mundus just a little bit. So we're also going to be using the Thunderbug's Jewelry. So we have 2 pieces of Thunderbugs, and we're also going to be using the Jewelry. Now we have to go ahead and transmute this. Why? So we can get the most out of it towards damage output. So we're going to put 1 infused with recovery. We're going to make 2 arcane with spell damage. Okay? Really, really nice. All right. Now, also, let's get into the skills. We're going to be using on the Resto bar, Degeneration. Why? Degeneration is going to apply major sorcery. It's going to apply a dot effect. And when we use Wild's Active, when we use a light or heavy attack against an enemy, we have a 15% chance to heal us for 125% of the damage caused. That's very resourceful. We're also going to use the Haunting Curse. No surprise. This is going to be ahead in our combo. So we lay this on the rest of the side. We switch out. We go back to the other bar. And we start comboing up. I'm using Healing Ward on this build. I like it. I know Healing Ward can go on other players, but I really like the Healing Ward a little bit better. The heal, it really helps sustain. So, in my opinion, I'd rather have the Healing Ward, but if you want to use Hardening Ward or the Light Armor one or the Amulet, you can do that. We're also going to use Dark Conversion. We're going to spend Stamina. It's going to give us a heal and Magicka Recovery. Really nice. And we're also going to use Boundless Storms. Boundless Storms with this build is sick. It's disgusting. Why? Because it's laying AoE damage around us. Not for much, 830. Now that mitigates cuts in half in PvP, so you're only dealing about 415, you know, ideally speaking. But it also gives us what? Major Expedition, and on top of it, we're getting physical and spell resistance through Major Resolve and Major Ward. So when we activate this ability, we go into our character sheet. Now our spell resistance bumps up to 21,426 and our physical resistance at 21,150. Really, really makes us survivable. Allows us to stay in that pocket a little bit longer than most builds. So I really, really enjoy that. Now, also I'm going to use Panacea. To me, this is a really good alternative ultimate. Why? Because I might not have the stand for the Dark Conversion. Healing Ward, once again, might go on somebody else. I need to hit light attacks with the degen, but if I get pinched up, then I use this, and it's going to go ahead and heal us or an ally for 8,097 health every second for 5 seconds. Now, we can get this morphed, and actually I should morph this real quick. And we're going to go with Light Giver. Life Giver is the big one for us. So we're going to go ahead and morph this to Life Giver. Alright, that's preferable. Okay, Destro Bar. Endless Fury, no surprise. If we kill him, we're also going to get Magicka back. It's going to restore 4,417. So this is our finisher. You know, it's pretty standard. Also, Flame Reach, once again, that's why I'm using the Master Staff. If you do not have the Master Staff, by all means, use a Willpower. You'll be fine. Rune Cage, I don't necessarily like this ability. I don't spam it often or anything like that. I use it in those clutch situations. I'm kind of, you know, for 5 seconds, it's a little OP, to be honest with you. But, hey, if it's there, use it. If you don't like to use it and you want to use another ability, by all means, slot it there. Crystal Frags, no brainer. We have, when we cast a magical ability, we have a 35% chance of causing our next fragments to be instant. So when our hands turn purple, boom, instant cast. Inner Light serves 2 functions. It's going to give us our Major Prophecy, but increase our max magicka by 5%. And then on top of it, we can activate it and expose enemies that are in stealth within us. Like, what, 6 meters. Not a lot, but hey. Also, I'm using Shooting Star. If you want to use Icy Comet, you can. I like Shooting Star in my playstyle. The only reason I prefer it is because I generate 12 ultimate for each enemy hit by the initial blast. Really resourceful. Really, really nice. Okay, so that's pretty much the layout of the skills. You can make those adjustments if there's something to the playstyle that you prefer. Keep that in mind. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the champion point, shall we? Coming into the apprentice, we have Blessed at 909, Elemental Expert at 14%, Spell Erosion at 4,063. Now keep in mind, our Flame Reach is going to ignore 20% of the target's spell resistance. We also are using Lover Mundus. We add this. We have plenty enough penetration, okay, for that ability. But keep in mind that only Desero abilities are affected by that passive. Coming over here, we have 14 in the Staff Expert. We have 72 in Master at Arms, and that will allow us to keep the Butcher. Our light and heavy attacks are increased by 5% when enemies are below 25%. Just an extra perk. Coming over here, we have nothing into the Ritual. Zip. Coming into the Steed, Ironclad 40, Spell Shield 10, Resistance 47. Hardy and Elemental Defender are both split at 909 with 37 points and allocated in each. We have Light Armor at 2542. Now, I didn't put any points into Thick Skin because between the healing and the shielding, I can usually outdo most dots. But if you want to put a few points here, you can reallocate some of the quick recovery, maybe like 1 or 2%, and maybe 1 or 2% from the Bastion. Keep in mind we are using one shield. So I have 28 points into Bastion and 23 into quick recovery. It's going to be your personal call. Coming in to the Thief, we have Siphoner at 56. I really like this in Cyrodiil because when we hit them with the light or a heavy attacks, it's decreasing their Magicka and Stam recovery by 12%. So if they're Red Guard or High Elf, this is completely taking away that passive. So I really do enjoy it with this build. Warlord, we're going to be at 13.13. That break free in Cyrodiil does come in handy. Coming over to the Lover, we have 23 points in Tenacity, 75 into Arcanist, and 56 into Healthy, and that allows us to get up 2% more towards our Major Expedition, our movement speed. Really nice. And also I have 9 points in the Shadow Ward, just in case I have to block, you know, and I'm having to, like, recover. It just gives me a little slight block reduction. Nothing major, but it comes in handy. So pretty much that's the build and that's the layout. And I'm telling you guys, this might not be a playstyle for everybody, but once again, this proves without a doubt you don't need shield stacking. You can make other builds that are viable and not be so dependent or reliant on one broken mechanic in the game. So once again, I do appreciate it. I do want to thank everybody. If you have any questions or comments, post below. Once again, I'm Mystic Raven. This is Mystic's MMOs. Thank you guys for watching. And once again and always, have a nice day.